Do you have dreams and goals in your life, and you think that you have to change everything about yourself in order to achieve those goals? Stick around and let me share a story that I just experienced, and I will explain to you why you have everything you already need within you to accomplish those goals without trying to remake yourself into something that you are not naturally supposed to do. My name is Megan Smith, and I am on a journey of sharing how I'm becoming more authentically myself, creating more joy in my life, experiencing life instead of surviving it. And I have challenged myself to go and put a video out every day in the month of October as a way just to share little things that I've learned, experiences that I have, epiphanies that I have, in hopes that it will reach other people who are just learning to find the best way forward in their life, looking to find joy in their life again, finding out who they authentically are. And so this is my little video channel that I do for that, because I know there's so much in this world where people are telling us how to behave. They're telling us who we should be, what we should be thinking, how we should be approaching life. And that's not always a good thing. Everyone is unique. Everyone has their own strengths, their own way of doing things. And when you try to accomplish your goals, or you try to live your life specifically in a direct copying of somebody else, or the way you see somebody else who maybe has a life you want, if you try to be who they are, it very rarely works out the way we expect, and it usually feels very awkward and unusual and unnatural to us. And so as an analogy to that, I want to share a story that literally has just happened in the last 24 hours. And if you saw my most recent video, it really wasn't a happy video. I made it after I had a pretty disappointing experience. But like I said, I'd promised myself to make a video every day, so I put it out there. And basically, to summarize that video, I had gone out. There's a phenomenon going on in the sky right now, and I wanted to go see it. And I live in a town with a lot of lights, and I was like, I need to go out, out to the countryside where there's fewer lights, get on a backcountry road over a hill, and in more darkness so that I could see this phenomenon in the sky. And so I got in my car and I drove out, and I went what I thought were pretty remote roads. I did not expect to have anybody. It was, fairly late in the evening. I did not expect to see anybody out on the road. And everywhere I went, there were cars coming up behind me. I tried to pull off on the side of the road, and I'm in somebody's way, and I'd have to move. I was being blinded by car lights that were running on the road. And so it just was a very frustrating scenario, because every time I found just a few minutes where I could watch this phenomenon, I had to move my car or do something to get out of the way of a car that was coming down what I thought were deserted roads. And I know I don't own the roads. That's not the point of the story. It was more of that I went out expecting to find a remote area, and I just was not finding it. And on top of that, I had an issue with my tire that turned out to not be a big situation, so I'm very thankful for that. But it was a very disappointing experience. And what I wanted to share with retelling that story is that when I got home, I made the video that I posted, and then I kind of tried to collect myself, tried to learn, like, why did this happen? Why was this experience so bad? And so I decided, you know what? Let's just go outside and see if I can see anything from my current location around my home. And you know what? I did. And it became apparent to me that I had everything that I needed right where I already was to see what was happening in the sky. I didn't have to get in the car and drive to where other people lived or to be on other people's roads to see it. I didn't have to change my location, change what I was doing. I actually had everything I needed right where I was. And it just reminded me about when before I knew about my strengths. If you've seen my videos, you've heard me talk about Clifton Strengths, and how before I knew my strengths, I thought that the only way that I was going to be successful in my job, successful in life, was to emulate other people, be like other people, work like other people, tell jokes like other people, whatever the case, dress like other people. And I found myself, because I thought there was something awkward or weird about myself, and because I saw these other people getting the attention. And so I didn't really pay attention to who I was. And when I learned about my Clifton Strengths, when I took the assessment, and I learned that no, actually, what I was trying to become, because I thought that's what people wanted from me, was very awkward for me. And that's why it always felt wrong. That's why it was always unusual when I was around people, and it created awkward situations, is because it's not who I was. I already have everything in me. I don't need to be like other people to live my life to the best potential. In fact, when I am trying to be other people, or I'm trying to live up to look like someone else or be like someone else, dress like someone else, whatever, I am the most unhappy because it's not naturally who I am. I call this channel Naturally Megan because that is my goal, to return to being who I naturally am. So by coming home to my strengths, knowing what I am, my domain is a relationship builder, that I need to approach every goal, every task, my life from the point of building relationships. And so that's who I am. These other people who are successful, they did it their way. That's who they were, and that's how they got their success and their happy life, or whatever you want to call it. And so just my analogy last night from having to go out and thinking that I had to go beyond my own realm to get my goal accomplished, I didn't. I already had everything that I needed. And it just reminded me that once we know that we have the ability to do it ourselves, we don't have to recreate who we are. Life becomes so much easier to manage, and it's so much more joyful to get through. This does not mean that we don't need to grow, or that we don't need, to educate ourselves on a better way to do something, or to learn specifics about what our goal is or something we want out of life. Yes, we always need to keep learning, but it's how we approach the learning, how we approach the process we use to approach talking to people, or being in a group, or whether we want to go out to an event and be a part of that. How we approach our activities in life, we need to be ourselves. Be yourself. That is who you innately are. Those were the gifts and what God gave you, who He made you. You don't need to recreate that just to be accepted. And know that if people aren't resonating with you, it's because they're not your people. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just not a resonance between you, and that's okay. Move on till you find who you are. And I believe you will find you'll be happier. You'll find more contentment with yourself, with your life, and you will find that it's much easier to get the goals that you want and to achieve the things that you want when you settle into who you naturally are, instead of trying to be like everyone else says you should be. I hope that makes sense. I hope my analogy to me trying to leave my home to experience this event, when I had everything I needed right here. I just needed to go around the corner. But I thought I needed to do different. I thought I needed to be like somebody else who was in a darker area, and I didn't. So I hope that analogy made sense. If you want to know more about Clifton Strengths, please feel free to put the word strengths in the comment section here, or direct message me. I do not get paid by Clifton Strengths, so there's nothing about that, but I can tell you how to access the report that they put out there if that's something you're interested in, and I could definitely help you kind of give it, idea of a breakdown of what it's saying if you do decide to get your report. I hope this is helpful. I hope it's not quite it's more of an improvement on the video that I put out yesterday, where I was feeling very down in the dumps. I'm definitely much happier. I got the lesson. I needed to rely and use my own knowledge and where I am first before I try to venture out and be like somebody else. So I hope you found this message helpful. If this is not your thing, feel free to scroll by. But I figure if you've got this far in the video, hopefully something I said made sense. And I hope that it would help you to know a little bit more about yourself and find a more joyous, authentic life. Until I see you again, take care, be well, and be you.